How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to read the rewards of trading, whether the price is going up or down. Binance suspends a dozen Ethereum and BNB token trading pairs. So they suspended 5 ETH trading pairs and a bunch of trading pairs that use the BNB token. The BNB token is no longer going to be used for very much longer. They're telling people to, if they want to avoid any losses, that they're going to want to cancel any bots. That way they don't get hit with a bunch of losses when these coins are finally completely removed, as they'll be worth nothing. Loomis reviews commitment to the US crypto regulations. The fight is far from over, she says. So, Cynthia Loomis said the fight's far from over, and she's working on a proposed regulation that she's revamping. It was expected in April. However, it's a little late. Hopefully that just means it's going to be a little more bipartisan, as she is working with a Democrat on the bill. She is a Republican, so hopefully there's some bipartisanship and it's easier to pass. She said they successfully prevented the 30% digital mining tax, so that's a win for us, and she's still working on the framework. DeFi lending protocol Sturdy had a hack, which drained about 750k. It drained 442 ETH. This hack took advantage of the DeFi Smart protocol. The initial reports indicate that the attacker manipulated the price oracle, so the way that the smart contract got the price to display it, they were able to siphon the funds. There was a re-entry attack. This happens when the smart contract's trying to interact with another contract. What they're trying to do is they're manipulating the price from the original contract before it came back and executed what it was supposed to do. So they're trying to basically double dip. The attacker repeatedly called the BST ETH stable pool before previous transactions were executed, causing the pool's price oracle to malfunction and reflect a threefold increase. So when they were sending this duplicate attack, they're causing a threefold increase, and they're taking the money out and basically just kept doing that. So our futures is CME is going to happen tomorrow. We'll get our interest rate hike. Currently there's a 79% chance that we won't get any change. So that's good for our current environment, as usually when you see an increase in rates, that'll cause short-term declines in risk on assets, so it's very possible we may see a quick pump from that. So over on our total, we are getting a little bit of a drop here. Our RSI is pretty flat, stochastic is beat down, money flow is coming out. VWAP wants to break through that neutral. We'll have to see if it can get the momentum and actually get through. And our momentum is coming down, but if that VWAP continues its rate of acceleration, we could get a green dot soon. Over on our Bitcoin dominance, we are getting a bit of a run up here. Stochastic's starting to kind of roll away. RSI is going kind of flat though, and our momentum's starting to roll over. VWAP is heading down kind of sharply. Money flow wants to come up, but it looks like we could start to curl here if we don't get some continued momentum. So just be cautionary of that. If the momentum starts to subside, then we could see some downside. So our futures, you can see we still have this gap up we need to fill. Stochastic's heading down, RSI is pretty flat, money flow is pretty flat, our VWAP is trying to head up, and our momentum's trying to curl up, so we're trying to get some mixed signals here. What could happen is if we don't get a rate hike, we could see a short-term pump, fill this gap, and then maybe we'll start another break down toward this lower gap. Or we could fill the higher gap if we continue to keep moving. We'll have to kind of evaluate the market environment when that time comes. So over on Bitcoin, we are somewhat pretty flat under our flag. Stochastic is weakening off. Our RSI is pretty flat. Money flow is curling away. Our VWAP wants to push up. Our money flow is coming out. So overall, our money flow and our momentum are coming out, so we're a little more bearish than bullish. If we look over at the 4 hour, we are kind of making a wedge or triangle. Let's draw out real quick. Yeah, more of a channel. So we have an up channel. That up channel could end up bringing us down, as up channels usually are descending patterns. Our stochastic does have a bearish cross that is happening, so we could get that confirmed and start to push down. Our RSI wants to swing up, but if that stochastic starts to lose here, that RSI could buckle over. Our VWAP did break over the neutral zone, but if everything else starts to fall, we could see this roll as well. Kind of just as like a small peak, kind of like it did in the bearish zone. Our momentum wants to get a green dot, so we'll have to see if that can carry some weight and push us forward. Our money flow is overall heading out, so we are trying to get a little bit of a push up right now, but overall we're sliding away from that neutral zone. Over on the 2 hour, we're getting a little bit of a reversal arrow, so we are in an uptrend and we're getting all these reversal arrows, so those could signal that we could have a downtrend coming. Stochastic's getting lower highs even though price is trying to continue higher. Our momentum's coming down. VWAP is in the bullish territory, but not looking too good as it's in like a resistance spot and not really pushing through very strong. Our money flow did break bullish very slightly, and now it's starting to break back bearish, so we did get a little glimmer of hope, and now we're looking like we're losing it. So over on the 1 hour, we do have this kind of green dot with the triangle. Sometimes when you get these, that signals we want a reversal with some bullish action, but most often I see them dump to the downside like this one, kind of dump to the downside, so we could fall to the downside and possibly break out, as we've hit the bottom several times already. Our stochastic is rolling over, RSI is rolling over, money flow is rejecting away, our momentum is trying to rise, but if everything else continues its trajectory, that could roll over. Our VWAP is starting to roll over as well, so overall we're a little more bearish leaning than bullish, I'd say, on the lower time frame. Over on graph, we're pretty indecisive here on the daily. Our RSI is pretty flat, stochastic's beat down, money flow's coming out, VWAP's trying to head up, momentum's coming down pretty strongly. So overall, I'd say we're more bearish leaning than bullish on the daily. Over on the 4 hour, might have a symmetrical triangle here, which that would not be a good sign because that could be a bear pendant, and a bear pendant does tend to break us down more than it'll break us up. But there is that possibility, kind of like the Bitcoin dominance, where we did have that pendant, but we broke away from it instead of down from it. So it is a 50-50 pattern still. The way you measure the 50-50 is you take about half of its move for the break up or the break down, but since it's a flag, you take the measured move for the whole pole, for the drop and the triangle. Our stochastic is trying to roll over, RSI is going pretty flat. If you want to learn more about how to trade these patterns, look at our trading basics videos. We have some pattern videos, so check that out. Our money flow is trying to head up, our momentum wants to head up, our VWAP is pretty weak, we're at a pretty decent resistance area, so if we don't get a push through here, we could see some further downside. Over on the 2 hour, our stochastic's starting to roll over, RSI is starting to roll over, our VWAP's getting lower highs and starting to roll, our money flow is starting to head out after trying to make some moves upwards, and our momentum looks like we could break to the downside after just peeking through to this bullish side, kind of hard to see behind that VWAP. And over on the 1 hour, we are falling with our stochastic getting lower highs, RSI is pretty flat, slightly lower highs and starting to curl over. Our momentum is starting to curl over, but we are trying to lug forward, and our VWAP is getting lower highs, money flow is pushing away from neutral, so I'd say we're a little more bearish leaning than bullish here, and with this triangle we could see that full breakdown, and that would break us back down to around where those wicks were from yesterday. Thought that was a little more recent, a little further back, but oh, here's where the bigger wick was. That's the wick I was looking for. So over on Anchor, we have a pretty decent drop, so we could fill this wick. Our RSI is pretty flat, so stochastic's falling, VWAP wants to head up, our money flow is curling away, our momentum is coming down, so overall we're pretty similar to everything else so far, not looking too strong. We do have a bit of a range we're trading in here, so this could end up being somewhat of a flag, or possibly some sort of a wedge, yeah, which would not be good to have this rising wedge because that could start a little bit of a breakdown. Our stochastic is rolling over, RSI is trying to push up, our VWAP is meeting resistance. Our money flow wants to head up, but overall we're heading away from the neutral zone, so our money flow is coming out. Our momentum is trying to push forward, but with the way the money flow is coming, we could start to roll over if we don't get some push up on that money flow. The 2 hour money flow is just zigzagging around, and we're back in the bearish zone. Our momentum wants to come up, but we could start to roll over here if we don't get that money flow to recover. Our RSI and our stochastic are starting to roll. The stochastic's kind of bouncing around, but we are overall weakening here with both of them. Our VWAP is setting lower highs, even though we're trying to trade in this area. So just be a little cautionary, as the medium term's not looking too strong. Over on the 1 hour, our stochastic's getting lower highs, starting to roll over. Our RSI is starting to roll over. VWAP's starting to fall. Momentum could roll over. And our money flow is getting close to breaking through that neutral zone into the bearish territory. So we could get a bearish break on the 1 hour that would go with the 2 hour. And that could drag our other time frames down. Remember, the 1 hour, 2 hour, and 4 hour. When you typically get those in agreement, you'll see a pretty good move down or up. XRP is just locked within our range, so that is pretty good considering it's a bull flag, but our momentum is still overall coming out, but we are trying to get that round, so we could see a green dot here soon if we manage to keep with green candles in this area. If we start getting a bunch of red candles, we might see that momentum continue to drop. Stochastic is falling. Our money flow is pretty flat, so that money flow needs to pick up as well. If it starts to fall out, we could see some further downside, and we may fill these lower wicks instead of seeing this breakout. Our VWAP is trying to go up and head through that neutral zone, so we'll have to see if we can get the strength to actually break through there. Over on our 4 hour, our stochastic is starting to kind of roll. RSI is getting lower highs, starting to roll here as well. Our momentum is trying to push pretty strong, so momentum's looking pretty decent. Our VWAP's trying to push pretty strong off that neutral zone, but we are getting lower highs here. So just exercise some caution if we start to roll. Our money flow is pretty stagnant overall. We're not really getting any success getting over this 11 area and actually maintaining for a range of time. That's something we're going to need if we're going to get some push, is to break through that resistance. At 2 hour, you can see our money flow is starting to head away, so that's not good for us. Our VWAP is starting to head away. Our stochastic wants to run up pretty strong, but our RSI is starting to fall. Our momentum looks like we could start to set a lower momentum wave, so we could set bearish divergence there. So not too good if we do that, because we could fall away from this flag. Over on the 1 hour, our stochastic is getting a bearish break. Our RSI is falling, momentum's falling, we have a red dot. Money flow is in the bullish territory, but again, we're struggling to get through this area and hold above it. We just keep getting to this point and then cooling off. Getting a little more money flow, then cooling off. Our VWAP is heading down and testing the neutral zone. So overall, we could see a little bit of a cool off. Maybe we come back to this area. If we break past 51, we want to maintain that 50. That way we maintain the pattern, and then we may get a bounce off of that and hopefully a breakout. We have touched this several times on both sides, so it would be likely to get a breakout soon, but with the way it's looking, we could see a little bit of a pullback. But the Hinman docs do get released tomorrow, so we could see an explosive move just from that, depending on how they are. That's probably why we're so indecisive, because if the Hinman docs are, say that XRP could be considered a security, then XRP is probably going to drop. If it says it's more of a commodity, just like Bitcoin or Ethereum, and we can establish why Bitcoin and Ethereum were viewed as commodities from Hinman, then we could see a pump from XRP. Our stochastic is trying to run up, RSI is trying to run up, our momentum's trying to push up with a double green dot. and our money flow is pretty flat here. Our VWAP is in the bullish territory and trying to head up, but overall I'd say we're more bearish leaning than bullish. Over on the 4 hour, we probably have more of a wedge. Ooh, no, we have more of a triangle here. So we have an ascending triangle, which could help propel us forward. So that's good for everyone in algo since we've just getting beaten up lately. Might be able to set up some sort of a cup if we break out, so watch out for a little bit of a rejection and then make a handle and then maybe a cup and handle, and we could push forward, which this would be our neckline. Oops. And you'd see break 2 probably around this 14 cent area if that cup and handle were to get created from a push from this triangle. Our stochastic is trying to cool off though, so be wary. Our RSI is overall pretty flat. VWAP is setting higher highs overall, but it is starting to cool off. Our momentum's starting to curl around that neutral zone. Our money flow is trying to push up, so we're very mixed, so just exercise some caution. We're getting pretty tight, and we are looking a little bearish leaning. Over on the 2 hour, stochastic's heading down. Our RSI is pretty flat. Momentum wants to get a green dot to confirm, and our VWAP wants to break bullish. Our money flow wants to break bullish, so we have some signals that want to break out. We'll have to see if those can actually break through and give us that push up. Over on the 1 hour, momentum is kind of losing. We're getting bearish divergence on momentum. RSI is starting to lose, stochastic's starting to lose, VWAP's starting to roll over, and our money flow is getting close to that neutral zone. So if the money flow breaks into the bearish territory in the next few candles, then it would not be very hopeful for either of these patterns. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a wonderful night.